Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Ferris Makes Emulators. This is episode 72, and kind of coming off of last week, we finished at least what I thought was going to be the serialization and deserialization stuff, only to find that it didn't actually work. I'm guessing that there's some kind of the emulator state that we haven't captured properly. But since when we were testing this last week, with Libretro, I actually also suspect there might be some weird pointer thing or something going on because we got some weird LZ4 encoding errors when we tried to reapply some of the states, or we tried to like deserialize the serialized states. So I disabled that just to because what I was thinking is that okay, maybe it doesn't actually like that we're reporting different sizes for the serialized data, and maybe that was causing issues. So to remove that variable, I disabled the LZ4 encoding for now. I plan to, of course, re-enable that. But I just thought I'd remove that variable. That didn't help on its own, but at least we weren't getting crashes anymore. But of course, the state still didn't work. I'm thinking right now we could try to remove remove any Libretro stuff at all to try this. Excuse me, a little bit scatterbrained today. Anyway, I'm thinking we could remove Libretro as a variable entirely by hooking up serialization in our command line front end. Because then at least, even if I just hack something together, we'll at least know that it's all our own code that we're running here. And if it doesn't work in that environment, then we can start debugging. I'm thinking, for example, to annotate all of the emulator objects with derive equal and partial equality and partial equality, so that at least we can like save out or clone the entire state and then do an actual comparison on those and have Rust kind of make sure that we're not missing any. Since it's the equality functions would be generated by Rust, we know we wouldn't miss any fields on those objects. So we should at least be able to see if they're the same or not, and then perhaps what's actually different. We can kind of dig down into that. So I'm thinking that on the way there, we can do this. We can try to just serialize stuff with our CLI front end. Of course, the thing that I forgot is that we refactored a bunch of the stuff, especially like the audio and video output data paths. We refactored a lot of that stuff so that there's no copies. So we got rid of the middleware crate in the meantime. And I don't think I ever updated the CLI front end when doing that. So we're going to have to work on that a little bit. And then once we're done with that, we'll get back on the serialization stuff. So I don't think this will take much effort. I just have to make all the signatures align. And I'm just going to sit here and run the compiler because I don't remember all the changes we did. I could look in Git. But I think the easiest way is just to let the compiler tell me exactly what to do, because I think it will the entire way, which is pretty cool. And then we'll hook up. So I want to get it working first, and then we'll hook up the serialization stuff just kind of on its own. And it's probably code that I'm not going to commit because I don't really know how I want to expose that in the CLI front end yet. So I'd rather just hack together whatever we need to debug and then just get rid of it. Unless it ends up being what we want. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I'm thinking for today. So might as well just get started. By the way, hi to guys in the chat. Zokwar, Daru2, 8 Little Bits, MoveAway00, Wistertobe. Good to see you guys again. I'm glad, Daru2, that you like the hour earlier schedule. It works a lot better for me with the job that I'm working on now, which is a little bit earlier. So at least for me, it makes my evenings kind of feel the same, which is nice. So sorry, 8 Little Bits. Sorry it has to be moved, but I'm honestly pretty happy with the new time slot, so I think I'll keep doing that. Glad you could catch the whole stream. MoveAway00. Yeah, again, I really don't know why that LZ4 stuff didn't work. It should. I mean, obviously the code is correct as far as I can tell. So I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of that. In any case, I really hope we can still use that. And I'm sure we can. We'll just have to hammer down and figure out what's going on, what's going wrong here in the first place. So yeah, when I run this, we get Rusto Boy middleware. I can't find that crate because that's not there anymore. So let's get rid of that first. I think get rid of. Okay, it's already not here. That's good. Bang. Yeah, so now we have these syncs and sync ref stuff. Might have changed a lot of the stuff in this driver. We'll see. Okay. None of that. Ruh-roh. Yeah, so apparently we don't have video frame anymore. I am probably still going to have to look at Git to remember what we changed here. That's nice, but wait, 00. Well, bummer in the general case, but nice for today. Things definitely feel slower at the office these days. On my end as well. Because I remember with the sync stuff. Right, so we have audio frame, and the audio sync wraps that, and then I think we have... So we do still have video sync with the pixel buffer and everything. Now I remember that. These different formats that we have to put on here. This should be pretty easy. I don't remember what this is populated thing is, though. Who knows? In front end, type inference workaround. We're way back in March now. So I'm guessing this commit's going to be relevant. Use buffered audio instead of per sample callbacks. Refactor video sync is, I'm sure, going to be the most relevant one. Yeah, there we even removed the middleware crate, even though we didn't build this. That's funny. Yeah, a lot of the stuff in the core did get refactored properly. It's just the stuff in this front end that should have really changed. Yeah, so instead of a sync video frame, we pass in a video sync, and that has the buffers on it directly, so we don't create new video frame objects all the time that we would put into this. That was the idea there. Yeah, so here it actually creates the video sync. We're missing a couple things here, though. Like, again, that is populated thing. What was it in Git to commit, or to compare to commit? I mean, I want to commit this one to, or compare this one to head, so. Maybe I can just do the hash here. That'll do it against head, maybe? Looks like it, because there's just more stuff here that I see. A lot of stuff being made public. We're going to see a lot more stuff than we need to see for this, but at least we'll see whole parts of code where this stuff changed. Yeah, again here, instead of outputting individual audio frames, we've got a sync that has this buffer of frames. And that's going to be filled in by the emulator. Perfect. The vast majority of the stuff is, I think, making stuff public. That's okay. You know what? I didn't do the right commit for this, did I? Maybe I did. Maybe I should have done the commit before it, because I wanted to include the changes in that commit. Or maybe I did that right. Oh, if I did the little caret, does that give me the parent commit? That's pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, I think that's actually what I wanted. Bam. I'm not usually using the like page up, page down when I'm looking through this because it's too easy to hit it twice. I don't want to. I'd rather sit here a little bit longer and scroll through it than miss something. Yeah, here we have all the changes. This is what we wanted. Thanks for the tip, by the way. Move away 00. This is one of the many reasons why we use Git. Okay, so I guess this is populated thing is filled in by the emulator, and it tells us if there's a new frame or not, basically. That's okay. So we'll create a new one with is populated as false, and then if it's true, then we'll output the new frame. Nice thing is we should actually be able to also have a no copy data path with our CLI front end too. If we just give it a reference to the buffer that we feed to mini FB. Oh, that's cool, Movie 00. Did not know about that either. Okay, now I'm carefully using page down. Getting a bit impatient. Yeah, I think I've seen all we need to see here, really. At least it's in the history here. So the main difference here is that instead of sync video frame, we actually create a video sync. So that's the first thing. All of this stuff here, we'll get to this most recent sync stuff and like gamma just sync. I think this will get a lot simpler. In fact, actually, we'll start there. It doesn't really matter. Sync audio frame is also not what we want anymore, because I think this became audio sync, which is the buffer and everything in there. So, in fact, I don't think we need to do any of this because we'll just create the sync ourselves. We don't need to create a new thing here, new structure. So audio buffer sync here is going to be an audio sync. In fact, we can call this audio sync. Why not? find audio sync because of this. Oh yeah, that needs a lifetime. Right, because the buffer is a slice here. Okay. I call that. We can do like audio buffer. Like that. If we want. We're gonna need audio sync in a minute. So we'll leave this here. Oops, I did want to see some of those errors. What was this? In mute audio sync? Well, this is creating a new emulator, so that's not what we want, is it? Boxychrome audio frame. I don't think so. It just does this here. I don't know. We'll have to revisit that when I remember where that's used. I think that actually comes from just main. In vegetable CLI. Oh, right. We get that from the audio stuff. Because the driver here gives us this sync ref. Yeah, the kind of annoying thing with this is that since it exposes the data, instead of this append. So what this would do before is just whenever append would be called, with the frame here, we would lock this ring buffer and then copy the data. I still think that's okay because the audio stuff is going to be happening on a different thread, so I don't mind having a ring buffer or having a mutex and a ring buffer here. So we're probably going to do... I don't want to lock that mutex while the emulator is running. So I think what we'll end up doing is having our own sync in the emulator that then we're going to copy data out of here. So I think using syncs, the syncs stuff here, is not actually what we want to do. So instead of exposing a sync that we can grab from the CPL driver to dump stuff into, I think we want to rather give it a sync, because I think this exposes like a raw ring buffer, the buffer and the position. And instead of like holding the mutex and having that point to a buffer, I'd rather use a different intermediate buffer that we have here. So if we keep that buffer in the emulator, then we can just build the sync around that. I mean, we could also, in the CPL driver, so let's see here. Just have to think of how I want to expose this here. Because it was kind of nice that this emulator code didn't have to know about like the CPL driver, because it just got the sync that it could append stuff into, and that was pretty nice. Well, that's also good to know, Drew, too. Didn't realize. So this kind of sucks, actually. Because we're able to get a time source from the CPL driver, and then we want something that has a function that we can call. I could just make this a function pointer that we would call every time we get new samples. We don't really need a trait here. I mean, the dependency inversion stuff, that's basically what I've done here with the time source and what I had with the old syncs. So what I'm debating in my head is either to... Like, I don't want to introduce a new sync concept just for this. Because I like that these syncs now just have the data. They don't really have behavior anymore. So I'll probably just reintroduce what we had as this syncref concept before. Or something. It's the same abstraction. I just have to put different names on all the pieces and make the make the traits live in different places. And I don't like that. But I think it's okay. I think instead of a time source, this can be an audio dest. I mean, sync is really the right word for this. So maybe the fact that we called this sync is wrong. Because really it's a ring buffer. Audio ring buffer. I don't know. Let's go with a crappy name for now. And see if it still bugs me once it actually works. The ideas are clearer in my head. Hey, Daniel Colin. Yeah, we'll do that. So then this would have... You don't do pub here, do you? Because it's all public. So function append, and then this is going to be mute self. Yeah, there you go, Mad Moose. Also very helpful for Git. Yeah, the CPL driver had exactly this interface here. We can take a sync if we want to here. I think that would be okay. Although I kind of like, actually, that we take a slice to this. Or for this. How did we hook this up in the Libretro code here? Yeah, so we have an audio frame buffer here, and then, yeah, audio samples batch, and we give it the frame buffer. Right, so in this case, we create the sync around the buffer, and we always set the position to 0, and then we see how many audio frames are rendered with the buffer position. Yeah, we can do the same thing. Exactly, Daniel Cullen. I'm also partial to the suffix bean and factory. Entity or object are also really good ones. Widget. Proxy bean. Ah. It's definitely one of those streams. Yeah, we'll call it this for now. 0 fucks given. And so then here we'll take a box to an audio desk. And then we'll do this. Yeah, that's exactly a dirt too. The best kind of vulnerability is the one where I bait people into sharing all their terrible class names using Twitch. Simple Bean Factory where Aspect Instance Factory. That's incredible. Oh, there was a tweet that I saw recently, like a week or two ago, and they were talking about, I guess someone had overheard people talking about different ways that processes could communicate with each other, like different tools they could use. And I guess they mentioned they have like IPC and shared memory and Spectre vulnerabilities. It's pretty great. Hey, Ratchet. Always fun. Is this what we did in the other front end? The audio frame buffer. Yeah, we just did a vector here. There was lots of skid room here. I like this. It's okay. It's okay for me. Make this a vec. We'll never resize it, but it doesn't matter. So we'll do the same thing. Oops. And sample rate cannot be found. That's going to be in, I think that's in the VSU actually. Yeah, it is. Not too bad, Ratchet. I'm just debugging some save state nonsense. Or rather, we're getting there. Gonna make the CLI front end work since we've been working on Libretro stuff and refactored some stuff and haven't updated this yet. Might as well make this too. This output buffer. Display pixels also, I think that comes from VIP. Yeah, it's here. Yeah, it's nice until the serialization crap. Which, mostly because of the sizing stuff, appears to be a bit weird. Hopefully I'll change my mind once we get the stuff working. Maybe I just haven't understood it right. Time will tell. Wasn't that what this was? Man, I'm tired today. Output buffer. Oh, that's something I made here. Now we'll just use this format, so we'll just make it a vec of U32s. That's all good. Yeah, like save states. Serialization is in serializing the state of the emulator for save states and rewind. Those parts of the API seem a little sketchy. Okay, so here we're gonna run stuff, and we can just copy this stuff. Here we even wrap this buffer here. So we already know what that's gonna be though. We're gonna do it this way. So in here we have syncs to the pixel buffer. We're gonna do this one. So before we had all this crap. So let pixel buffer is, I think we build it this way. Or actually, I think it was pixel buffer XRGB. I think I fought with myself about this previously too. That it seems a bit odd that this would also contain this U size. I guess. Doesn't that seem redundant? Because if we wanted, oh, that's the pitch. That's why. This other one's the pitch. Yeah, we're good then. Yeah, and it's this what we want for that. So we'll do self dot video output frame buffer and that for the pitch. Yeah, I'd recommend Rust Mini FB for that exact use case. So display resolution X. Let's actually just be lazy here with some of this stuff. For example, this and this. Pixel buffer is in sync, so we'll pull that in too. Also, while I'm at it, I want to reorder these. Oh, actually, we had syncs up here. It's fine. We'll change that. Okay. We need mem. Ugh, find that error display very disturbing at the top there for stuff it can't find. Yeah, so this looks good now. This is not going to be the same. Yeah, there's a lot of wrapping and stuff here that we'll end up getting rid of. How do you think it's just the buffer and then the position? So we'll just make a new one. Where the buffer is audio frame buffer, and then buffer position is 0. Should be good there. I'm gonna reorder these two here. Why not? That's pretty cool. Where else do we need to change stuff? Yeah, so here we also use this sync concept for outputting to WAV files. But I can just use this audio desk thing. I mean, all that stuff is gonna... We can have that include the emulator module. That doesn't really matter because I don't really care about interdependencies between modules, especially at this level. So I think that's okay. I mean, if I wanted to, I could just make audio desks here. Yeah, I'll do that. Maybe we don't need that there. Cherry guy, no, these are cherry reds. Corsair K95 RGB, I think is what I'm using. Might be a K70. Don't remember. Yeah, so this will be the audio desk. This all looks nice. It's really nice when the top level code just looks like this. That's kind of the idea. And then here, we'll go ahead and import audio desk stuff. And everything should be good here. And the top level stuff should be good too, except we need to change stuff in this WAV file, stuff in the CPAL driver. Nice thing is, because I'm kind of doing this the lazy way, most of this is going to be trivial. This should be all this stuff. Use like this. And then instead of sync ref, this is going to be audio dest. And is that it? Did I call that the same name and everything? Buffers audio frame? Yeah, that comes from syncs. So we still need that here. This becomes the same. I don't think there's anything different except this, which is now going to be audio dest. This will be an audio sync. No, audio dest. And CPAL driver audio dest. That feels good. And then we should be able to do the same thing for this WAV file buffer. I love when stuff works out. So use audio dest. I think I did star in this one, but I don't really care. Actually, I do. Bit of a mix here. Good enough for now. Here. How is that not used? Isn't that? Oh, because we don't use the alias here. I would like to do that. I think that's nicer. Oh. Now I've got some other crap. Is it just that actually now? ROM size on 38. Oops. And then, yeah, the way the syncs are used here is still going to be wrong now, because we don't do into inner now. We instead want to do if it's populated. So this is going to be the same conditional. If video output sync dot is populated, we're not going to do the frame. We're going to do this. In fact, that's going to be that, isn't it? Not 0 on pixel buffer. That just means it's named, I guess. Or not. I probably have to unwrap this. even though we know which format this can be. Actually, we can do... We know that this is going to be this buffer. So I don't think this will actually play very nicely because of the borrowing. But we actually won't need the video output sync after this. So there's probably a nice way that we can move the code around to make this not borrowed at this point. But maybe this is fine. And then this is going to be audio des.append, and this is going to be audio sync dot buffer audio sync dot buffer pause, and of course that. Here we go. Yeah, so now we have the same stuff because we're borrowing this other buffer here. That's going to be annoying because of this self.step. Does that need self? I think it does. Because of emulated cycles. That's a bit annoying. Maybe. No, we don't want to create these every time that we do a step. That would be bad TM. I think we didn't get away, or I think we just got away with that here, just because we don't have that all on the same object, on the same structure. Yeah, because I think we have a context and then there's the system. And all these other buffers are outside of the system structure. System has a Virtual Boy emulated cycles, and then how much is going to be emulated. So we could do the same segregation of those states here, actually, and that might not be the worst idea. We probably don't need the target emulated cycle. Do we need that here? Yeah, I guess here, because we always increment frames, so we're going to keep that as like a running counter. Whereas in this case, we use the time source to determine what that's going to be, so we don't need that there. But then what we can do is we can... Let's do this. Let's do the same system thing here. So then we can do the Virtual Boy itself on the system. So we can do system. So we can make this public. I don't know what that's being used by. It probably, oh, that's probably to get the save RAM out of here. Yeah, to get emulator Virtual Boy, to get that stuff. So in that case, we can do... In that case, not too bad. And then this has the Virtual Boy. It has... That's a U64 that we want, isn't it? Yeah. And we don't care about the target emulated cycles. We'll get to that. So then we can actually do this too. This step function here should actually be on the system. Why not? And then does it not? Oh, lowercase. Get rid of emulated cycles here. We actually don't want it for this one, but since I had all the other ones selected, that was okay. Yeah, and then we got this debugger crap too. That's annoying. Because I don't want to just move everything to that. I mean, we could. It doesn't really matter. We could go the other way too. Like instead of calling this emulator. Well, I kind of like that with emulator, but then we can have like another. What do I call it here? Is it context or something? Yeah, context had a system and then the other stuff. I could do that here too. Maybe that's not the worst idea. Because essentially, these are the ones that we want to lift out of this structure. Yeah, exactly, Mamoose. Works every time. 60% of the time, all the time. A buddy of mine today referred to Hitman as Groundhog Day with murder. Totally unrelated, but that was pretty funny. Yeah. I think, like... Yeah, this calls window update. Nothing else does except this stuff. Blech. I don't love this. Maybe that's what we want to do though. Let's go ahead and actually just undo this stuff here. Yeah, and then we should just have the borrowing issues here. That should be all that's left. No, now we don't have system still. Where was that? Oh, that's here, wasn't it? Yeah. Because now I'm thinking... What am I thinking? I'm thinking we want to leave this as is. And pull these out. So we're going to do something like this. And so this is going to have an emulator. And this stuff goes here. I bet they are, Ben Miss. And then we end up renaming this to context. Context is another one of those super overloaded terms, but I don't really care. And then I'm probably going to want to rename emulator. I'm not sure. Let's figure out how we want to lay this out and figure out what to call these things after it works. It's one of those days. Yeah. Stuff. Fun. We'll dependency inject this stuff. This doesn't go there anymore, actually. Maybe the time source won't either when we're done with that. I don't know. I don't know. And of course, I always forget this. Oops. So here, run, we're going to want to extract. Wrong file here. Because does anything touch the window outside of this run function? Yeah, this does. But we can pull those out onto context, and I think that's okay. It's really run and read input keys that we want. I wouldn't be surprised if we start moving some more of this out there too. Hey, Alkama. Of course you are. Yeah, I'm just going to move this. And this. And we're just going to go back and forth a little here. Let's go ahead and move the window too. I'm gonna go to these because I can. I'm in one of those moods where I'm just not really thinking a lot. I'm just kind of mechanically doing stuff. Maybe not the best mood to do this in. You know, really, we don't need to move this at all. We can just make run take in the pointers to these buffers. Because we're only going to borrow them when we build these structures, and then we can make sure the borrow doesn't last that long. Let's do that. So just undo until Windows back here. And then we're going to keep these here. But we're going to make a run function on the context. It's funny because this is really just all converging on making sure like this stuff is just a parameter to run. Yeah, that's all I need to do, isn't it? We'll get there, you guys. We'll get there. I was like, why the hell was I just changing those like commas and shit? Of course, now I know why. And it's totally because like those changes where I just make a change to make me see the errors again. Okay, come on. Come on. Oh yeah, of course I renamed this. That's why. That's funny. Here we go. That was that. Hey Matt, RBA. Yeah, so we're okay here. We just want these bad boys to be in main, not an emulator. And I think that's it, because then they don't have the same lifetime as self. They can have a different lifetime. I think that's all we really actually need to change here. So in that case, we're not going to have audio desk as part of this. We're going to take that in. Here. And then that's okay, because the top level code will do this. Or rather, I think it'll even do this. Because we take the box there. That's okay. And then, you know, if this isn't going to take ownership, though, I want it to do this. In which case we can do that. Bam. What's next? Yeah, no self there. Yeah. So now we still have the borrowing stuff because of the pixel buffer stuff. Let's do all of this here, out here. There's probably some stuff about the stuff not being mutable too, which we'll get later once we fix more of these problems. Bye. And then we want to take these in here. Like that. And then I think we do as mute pointer. So we want the, no, that's not what we want. We want the reference. That. Display pixels is in and maybe we still want to shuffle some stuff around here in a minute, but I think this is going to be okay. And then audio frame buffer, of course, also needs to be. Audio frame buffer is going to be one of these bad boys. Oops. That should be okay. Right. Now it's immutable because it's borrowed as mutable, which is up here. But this is good because we can make sure that this borrow doesn't last any longer than that. Because really, we just need... If it's populated, then we'll use the buffer. So what we can do is this. Let's... is buffer populated. And I'm actually gonna wait. This is video output sync is populated, and I want to call this the output frame buffer is this populated. Okay. Right, because the sync comes from out here. And maybe we need to wrap that too, because it does the borrow here. If that's the case. No, it seems fine because we use the sync here. Yeah, to get a slice where it's that buffer and exactly that many samples. Okay. We got The SU is no longer imported here. And then, yeah, and then we have these mutability errors, which is exactly what I expected. Also, I'm still a bit surprised why we needed this here. I thought that would have worked. But okay, don't mind helping that. Because I thought the compiler would insert dereferences there, but I guess not. And we panicked. Invalid sequence? That seems really strange, doesn't it? Just trying to allocate a string? It's writing to the file system? What the hell? What is going on here? That seems really odd. I'm gonna do this. Okay, so already that doesn't work. That's very interesting. So what here broke? Whoops, that won't compile now because of all this shiznit. Whoops. Invalid sequence. Where is that happening? I wonder if size isn't being set right by ROM load. Because that would make sense. No, this still does from slice. With the entire file here. And that's going to set size. So that's not it, at least, I think. Very strange. Let's try this. So all this thing does, in fact, let's even go this far. Like that. So it just loads the ROM and parses arguments. Already there's a problem here. I wonder if it's one of these. Okay, it is. Then, okay, I think I know what's happening here then. It's probably these functions to get the ROM information, like name and maker code and all that. I would not be terribly surprised if after the last changes we made for having bytes and size separate like this, I would not be surprised if those other functions were not using bytes correctly. So name offset, for example, is header offset, and header offset comes from bytes length. Nope, that's self.size. That might be the whole problem. Okay, great. Oh no. I pull the window over, and then it crashes. But it works if I don't move the window. Oh no. Oh no. Bang. VSU cycles. Index out of bounds on VSU cycles. Oh, I think I know what's happening. I'm guessing the VSU overruns the buffer, the output sync here, the audio frame sync. Because when we move the window, there's going to be a very long period of time where we just update the emulator. And here it doesn't wrap around that buffer position. It's always just a pending. And if that buffer's not big enough, we're going to overrun the buffer. And that's definitely what's happening here. I mean, luckily we did all this correctly. It's just that now that the way that the sync works has changed. We might need to change how we run stuff. Particularly, I'm thinking the way we'll want to handle this is we want this emulator to flush more often. With the video stuff, it's not a problem. Because for the video, it's always just going to output the latest into this buffer and then say if it's populated. So this will, the way that this is structured already, it's going to just drop frames other than the last one, if any. So we're good there. But yeah, it's particularly this that doesn't like. Now, I don't like that because there might be a couple places where we need to do this. The stupidest way we can do this is make step flush the audio buffer. That's probably the easiest. But I don't want to do that because we should have some stuff here. The steps 1 instruction. I guess. Or yeah, as many instructions as we want. So that might also, it's possible that we specify a count here that's so long that we could overrun the buffer there. So this needs to handle that as well. Maybe I do want to be lazy for now and just make step flush the audio buffer. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. You know what I realized? We don't need to allocate those anywhere else. We can just allocate them in the run function. Because really, we just don't want these to be... yeah, this is kind of beside the point here, but I'm going to fix this. This is funny. We just don't want these to be reallocated. That's the whole reason we have these. And then this is going to be here. We don't need that. Still think we need VSU for the sample right here when initializing the CPL audio driver. And then here we need VSU. Then we'll get the sample rate. And then Mute here. Mute here. This became a really roundabout way to get here. But that's what we want, because then this is still nice. Basically exactly the same. In fact, time source also we could have put on here, but it doesn't really matter. Anyway, jumping around a lot here. I didn't fix the issue. I just want to see it build. Bang. No, actually, I really don't want... We really don't want step 2 to dump the audio buffer. That's actually really bad, because this append function we're assuming is expensive, and because it's going to lock a mutex. So we don't want to do append here. This turned out to be a lot more work than I thought, but at least we're getting this code caught up. One second. Maybe we want to have... I'm really not sure. We definitely don't want it to... I mean, we could actually have the VSU just overrun this buffer if it needs to. Or at least... I mean, I'd prefer, if we were moving the window like that, that it would still output all that data. Because I don't want to drop like audio frames when we're moving the window, but it's going to happen anyway. Like if I move the window and just hold the mouse on there right now, it's already dropping frames, so it doesn't really change those semantics. Because a really easy fix for this is going to be this. I mean, maybe that's okay. Maybe this is the semantics we actually want. I'm not sure, to be honest. Because, I mean, the way that we defined the sync, we did make it a not growable buffer. It doesn't really change how this feels when moving the window around to do it this way. It will mean we lose those frames, which is actually not something that the other sync would do. But I'm thinking this is okay, because this is still going to be more performant than what we had before too, because that's not growable. And as far as I'm concerned, this is good enough. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this, actually. I'm not entirely happy with some of the names, and I think we can still move some stuff around. Oh yeah, I still had some other changes. Let's do this. Just add the CLI stuff here. That I think I want a separate commit. So we're not going to stage that, and I'll take care of that in a sec, and then I'll just reorder them. Whoops. That I also wanted a separate commit. Okay, hold on. Think we want to do this. We don't want that yet. We don't want that yet. This is in serialization, so we want to skip that. Okay, so that's actually, we're good there. Texture. And then I also want to add this one. In fact, actually, we'll do this. Fix ROM. Because that's part of some other serialization stuff we did that I might want to squash with that. And then oh, you know what? We also want to do audio dest. We wanted this as part of the other commit. And then finally, oops, we wanted this commit. I want to squash this with some of the other changes to those syncs. We'll figure it out though. Okay, and now we can do this. Stash the changes and then do the rebase, and then we'll unstash. Oh, we almost got to what I want to do today. So here's what I want to do. I want to... I never know how to move lines around in Vim, and I don't really care to learn, to be honest. So I just want to reorder these for 3dB. So we'll get the VSU one first, and then I want to add this one, the 573A410. And then I want to have this commit last and squash that as part of that last commit. This should just work, and then we can go in here and get rid of that. And then git stash pop, and that should work. Nice, so we'll get rid of the backtrace stuff and run this again. And then just to be sure, I want to run the Libretro plugin as well. Make sure everything is good, and then I'll push that for now. And then we're sort of caught up on both front ends. And then that's really nice. So we may not actually even get to the stuff that I wanted to do today, but I think that's okay. I'm feeling pretty tired, so I think I want to go soon. Can't run Crisis yet. Maybe Doom. We'll see. That's going to be such a fun question when I get to working on the hardware project again. Yeah, anyway, stuff works. This is great. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it quits for today. So we almost got to what I wanted to do. Anyway, thanks guys for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.